today, I want to talk about several things that have been bothering me over the last couple of days as we look at the transition. We've got Barack Obama saying that he's going to put in a flurry of new rules for us. Forget the fact that hopefully Donald Trump is going to reduce these. I remember during the campaign, it was just back the beginning of October, that Donald Trump was talking about how he's going to reduce probably 70% of the regulations, he said. And the Hill took him to task, and they said, no, you can't do that. You can't just cut regulations that easily. Going back to October 7th, they said the issue of regulation has been so thoroughly politicized that it's not surprising if members of the public think that issuing a regulation or rescinding one is something that a president can do with the stroke of a pen. No, I think you need a phone too, don't you, Obama? You need a pen and a phone to do that kind of stuff. I say regulations often get confused with executive orders, which can actually be done away with quite easily. Oh, really? Okay, well, let's talk about the regulations. And I think this is a key thing to understanding how much power has been concentrated in the office of president and why it is such a bad thing. And hopefully this is going to change under Trump. If not, hopefully at least he will remove some of the burdensome regulations that have been placed on us. He'll take those away. And whether they've been done by executive order or whether they've been done by the orders of the massive bureaucracy. Remember the Declaration of Independence where they said that the king had swarms of officers that were harassing our people and eating out their substance? Remember when we rebelled against taxation without representation? Well, we have all that in these bureaucracies. We not only have taxation without representation, we not only have swarms of officers who harass us, who eat out our substance, but we also have regulation without any representation. We have legislation without representation, not just taxation. Understand that these regulatory agencies are little empires unto themselves. They write their own laws. They're given broad powers by the Congress, which has abdicated its power to these regulatory agencies, and they work under and with the president as an extension of executive orders. You need to start thinking of the EPA and the IRS and all these other regulatory agencies. You need to start thinking of them as an extension of executive orders because that's truly what they are. And so we should get to the bottom of this. It's one of the reasons why as I look at all these different cabinet picks that Trump is doing, in many regards, I just look at it as like, I just wish he would shut down that entire organization as opposed to putting somebody in front and top of it and continuing on with it. But they talk about, and they said this back in October 7th, this editorial by The Hill said Trump can't really cut these regulations because it takes a very long time to do it. It's a very time-consuming process, they said. Proponents of regulation often complain about just how hard it is to get a new regulation. Oh, yeah. That's why we have 80,000 plus pages of them every year because it's so difficult. No, it's not hard. But they do drag the process out. They say, for better or worse, it takes roughly the same amount of time to get rid of one. Years, they say. First, the agency has to propose a regulation. Then they open the proposal for public comment. Then if it has a large economic impact, then we have to do studies about that. Then once they get all this stuff back, they have to respond to the comments, redo their analysis, and so forth. And then they're going to get sued. So they say one of the key things, and this is what you have to understand, the purpose of regulations, the purpose of the FDA, the purpose of all these other regulatory agencies is if an industry has spent millions of dollars coming into compliance with the regulation, they're not likely to be happy that new competitors can now enter the market without complying with those regulations. You understand? Then when we look at stuff like the Dodd-Frank bill, that was not really set up to control the banks. If they wanted to control the banks, they'd break them up, which is what Bill Clinton did. He created the too big to fail bank mergers, the first one being Nation Bank and Bank of America. And then they all started merging. Everybody said, we're going to wind up with 5 or 6 banks that are huge. And that's what we did. And they were too big to fail, too big to jail. We've seen that type of thing over and over again. When you look at the FDA, what do? They put these regulations in here so that they can keep other people from getting into competition with them. That's the whole purpose of this. That's why you have regulatory capture. They speak of that. They take control of the FDA and their regulators to keep their competitors at bay. Look at what happens to somebody who wants to start a new car company, for example. You have this guy, the only person I've seen that has seriously tried to start a new car company, I think since DeLorean, is this guy Elio. And what did he have to do? He had to go to something that had 3 wheels so he could escape some of the onerous regulations that were put in there by Detroit to keep competition out. They don't want new competition. So he had to create a car that wasn't technically a car. And we'll see how that goes. But that's the purpose of these regulations. And so when I look at this, I look at this article that came out of the Christian Science Monitor. It was linked on the Drudge Report. Federal agencies are pushing a flurry of midnight rulemaking under Obama. They talk about how, well, the White House is reviewing as many as 98 final regulations that could be implemented before Trump takes office, including 17 with an estimated annual economic impact of $100 million or more. That would be each, folks. Each of those 17 regulations would have an impact of more than $100 million. See, that's the issue. And that's what needs to stop. We need to have something that is going to, we need to have a revolution. It needs to be based on the Constitution. And the thing that I'm concerned about with the Trump transition team is we've seen now there's been so much pushback against Romney. Kellyanne Conway is talking about how the masses of people are furious about this. Others have spoken out against it, like Huckabee, like Gingrich, that it's a betrayal if he were to do this. I think it's a big mistake. I think we need somebody who is going to not push back against Donald Trump's agenda, what he ran on. And I don't really understand. I understand reaching out to the other side, trying to get a consensus, but when you pick somebody like your chief of staff, like Priebus, or you pick somebody like Romney, or even worse, Petraeus, as they're now talking about, when you do that, you have to understand that what he's doing when he puts these people in as chief of staff, as Secretary of State, he's really kind of running a three-legged race with these people. And that's kind of hard to do when the other guy is desperately trying to go in the other direction. When these guys are dyed-in-the-wool globalists who are going to fight you on these key issues, that's a real problem.
Look, I'm not going to sit here and say, see, I told you so, that communist Chinese-style net censorship was coming to the web, because it's already here. It's being announced. The way you keep the internet open and free is you get involved more than ever. Go to Infowars.com/app. A new battleship in the fight. Infowars Live, available right now. We're looking for a crew to man it. You gonna sit down and play games and be a trendy? Or are you gonna be part of history? Don't sit by and let the internet and free speech be stolen from you. Take action.